Today on New Music Fridays, there's new singles from Paleface, Foreign Hands, and Reflections, and we review new albums from Dying Wish and Silent Planet. See you in a second. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to New Music Fridays on the Metalcore Nerds YouTube channel, where we talk about all the best in new music in the alternative music space. I'm your host, Sean Mott, and with me every single week, my dear friend, Matt Roth. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, my dude? Let's rage this week.
I know. Lots of new music.
There
It's
is.
good.
We're in that
Just
good
when you
time.
think the year is over, they just
Yeah.
keep giving you more.
Well, everybody's smart. Now's the time to release your new music because then come spring tour dates, you're playing the new albums, which there was a tour announcement actually since the last time we talked.
What, the Blink one?
No. Well, there was that one. However, we're running it back for another Metalcore Dropouts second
Oh,
semester.
yes.
And they're changing up their entire set list, but the same bands are going back on tour. And so I'm actually going to catch this one. They're coming to Richmond, which is closer to me. So I will be attending this one. I did not attend the Norfolk one, but
Yeah, they switched openers. Landmarks opened the other one, and then my boys, friends of the Metalcore Nerds podcast, Benny from Avoid, they're opening up this one. That band fucking rocks.
You're actually bearing the lead, though, real quick. Perhaps the most important announcement of our entire lives happened 2 days ago.
What?
Creed is going on tour. Creed is coming back. It's like the summer of '99 tour, they're calling it.
Yeah.
Daughtry, Three Doors Down. It is an entire big thing. And my wife is no bullshit really excited to go to that. And I'm like, we're going to be on a Disney cruise when they come like in this area. So I'm hoping that I don't have to, but then they're going to Raleigh in September. And I'm like, fuck, because she really wants to go to that.
I thought Sam was gonna want to go, and she was like, "There's no way in fucking hell I'd want to go to that." And I was like, "I mean, I guess fair, because dealing with Creed fans for a full show does sound pretty terrible."
Oh God, the mixture of like the demographic is 30 to like 75-year-olds all
Real,
drinking like Busch Light, American flags galore. I feel like
it's a lot to handle. It's a lot.
It
lot
is
to handle.
not my crowd.
I understand that for sure. Before we get into new music, best thing you can do right here on this show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and then leave a comment. Let us know what you think of this new music that's coming out. And if there's other stuff you want us to cover, comment and let us know. Hey, this band put on a song. Make sure you check them out. And we will. I love checking out new music.
That's what we do.
So yeah, a bunch of new singles just dropped this week. Paleface, this band, fresh off their headline tour in the States. Paleface Swiss, I should probably specify. And they crushed it. Sold out a lot of the tour dates. And believe me, I can't say anything, but what the band is working on for next year is fucking insane. So they did announce that they're playing Sick New World, Sad New World, Sick New World, whatever the fucking
that
new metal.
The ripoff When We Were Young for all like the ICP kids out there.
Yeah, it's like it's like the new metal version of When We Were Young. Yeah. So they're playing that, which is sick, but they have something else up their sleeve potentially. That's all I can say is that. I might be saying too much, but this new single is sick. I've always thought this band kind of embodied Slipknot in ways, but in a kind of modern, more aggressive way. And I guess I say more aggressive than newer Slipknot, because you don't get much more aggressive than like self-titled in Iowa. But they capture that essence, and like I said, they're blowing the fuck up, and it makes sense why. But they released a new single called The Gallow. It's fucking dope. If you're living under a rock and you haven't heard of this band, you need to get on that train and check them out.
I will say, yeah, they are. I have listened to them. I dropped the ball this weekend. I didn't check out the new single. That's on me. Again, we talked about this, but I have listened, and yeah, they rip, dude. Absolutely rip hard.
And then Reflections, if you guys remember Reflections from back in the day, they're still going. They do very limited touring and stuff, but they put out new music. They put out a new song called Scapegoat, and the noises and heaviness in this song are so cool and unique, and I don't really think I've heard much like it. It is very kind of Tony Tap Danza extravaganza, but in like a Reflections type of way, but the song is sick. The only thing I would complain about is the song is way too long. It's like 6 or 7 minutes long, and they could cut a little bit off. There's a point in it where I was like, "Oh, the song's ended. It's over."
And then they're like,
And then
just
they kept
kidding.
going.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my criticism. And even after that is good. It's just like I don't know if it needed to be that long, but the song is fucking sick. They haven't missed a beat whatsoever. Last thing we're going to talk about, Foreign Hands dropped Conditioned for a Head-On Collision featuring Olli Appleyard of Static Dress, which I'm a big Static Dress fan myself.
Oh, yeah.
I've been on that train since the jump with that band. So as soon as this came in my inbox and I saw that was the feature, I already love Foreign Hands. So I was like, what more can you make it better than adding him on the track? Love this song, love this band. Like I said, love Static Dress. So getting more from them is always a plus in my eyes. I love seeing this band continuing to get bigger, getting on bigger tours. This is a treat for me. I love this song and I love this band. I like, they have singing in other songs for sure, but I love that it kind of starts out with singing. It seems, I love when bands do this too. August Burns Red did this in their latest record, but some bands, it's very rare, but some bands, when they have a feature on it, they kind of meld their sound a little bit into the other band's sound to make it like flow better. And I think they kind of did that. It was a very Static Dress feeling song. Well, it's still sounding like Foreign Hands.
Yeah.
And that's what I really loved about it. So I'm stoked on this song. I can't wait to hear more from them. I'm sure we're going to get a full length from them eventually for sure.
Yeah. I was, man, this song, I loved it. I was sitting in my car, driving to work, and I'm just kind of like, I'm vibing to it. I'm like, yo, yeah, we got the cleans. We're going. We're just vibing. And there's a point in this song that it just turns and you're ready to fucking punch your grandma because you're just like, let's fucking go. They hit that breakdown and it just doesn't turn back from that moment about halfway through the song. And it absolutely just blows your mind what they do and the way they incorporate Static Dress into their own sound. Oh man, everybody's in for a pretty good treat. Listen to this song and I can't wait to get more.
Album review time.
Oh yeah, baby.
We got 2 this week. Silent Planet dropped SUPERBLOOM.
I'd give anything to be in over my head.
And this is on Solid State Records. And I'm going to be honest. I didn't love this record.
I probably liked it a little more than you, but I do have a very glaring criticism.
Probably because they've been releasing singles for this and people have been over the moon about them. And I've been like the guy sitting in the corner being like, am I the only one that doesn't love this? And it's like cool. Like what they're going for is cool. And I think the biggest thing with Silent Planet as a band is that from record to record, it always kind of, it doesn't feel like a progression. It feels like a pivot to me. If you don't feel that way, that's totally fine. It's just how I feel. Everything feels like it's a pivot. And if you're just trying to find your sound, but the thing that's crazy with this band is the band continually gets like way bigger. Like their fan base is wild.
As they should. Garrett, his vocals are amazing. And
yeah,
he actually sings a bit more on this album. And his lyrics are always a high point for me. I mean, the way it's poetic and what he does.
For sure.
But I'm with you because like the singles might be the high points to this album. I think the album, again, I don't dislike this album. It's decent. There's really good music in there, and I think it starts off a little slow, and then right after, once you get to pretty much Signal and oh god, I can't pronounce this. I've been practicing all day. Anunnaki. The album really picks up about midway through.
Yeah.
But the glaring criticism for me is it just ends in a very flat manner. Like the actual self-titled song SUPERBLOOM, it doesn't do it for me. It just
that's one of my favorites on the record.
Really? See, that's for me. It's like, it feels like, so it's like a roller coaster for me in a sense that like we're building up to the first half of the album. And then you just get that drop and it's a really good drop. It's thrilling. They really pick up. You get, oh yeah, this is Silent Planet. We're going hard. I actually really like Antimatter. I like what the electronic kind of like dance vibes that they have going on with it.
Yes.
And then as soon as you end the album, it's just kind of like you flatten out and it's just like, oh, that was it.
I can see that for sure. Kind of piggybacking off the dancey electronic, like ethereal, super like dark and gloomy type stuff. I think if they continue with that kind of sound, which I think they will, because a lot of the singles have that kind of vibe,
I
and
think it
people
works
have
for them.
really gravitated towards that, being like, yo, this is so fucking sick. A lot of people have called it like a game changer for metalcore, which I don't know if I agree with personally, because there's so many bands in metalcore that are doing like wild shit or doing stuff that's, like
Yeah.
look like Dayseeker. It's not even like Dayseeker is the most original band ever, but they have their own sound and they're fully leaning into it. And they're kind of like, they're a metalcore 1975. Like that's what that band
Yeah.
is. And they're incredible and they do it super well. With this album, it feels like a little conflicted in ways. Like I wish they dove deeper into that like dancey, singy kind of stuff. That's kind of why I like SUPERBLOOM, because I kind of liked the cleaner stuff better than the heavier stuff.
Well, see, they do that kind of weird electronic kind of like vibe, metalcore, vibe, almost dance club vibe. I will say is the easiest way to describe it. They start that, and then I guess in the middle of the albums when they kind of go back to what they've been doing sound
Heavy, yeah.
wise. And then, they do end with SUPERBLOOM. And like I said, Antimatter is honestly my favorite song on the album because I like that kind of weirdness. It's like you're going to a dance club. You're listening to like metalcore at the dance club. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Like
And it works.
I could see that song playing at the opening scene of Blade.
Oh my fucking God. I swear on my children's lives. I always picture the beginning of Blade with the dancing blood in my head when I fucking listen to this song. I am so glad you said that because I was literally about to say this just thing that's what I was building up to with the metalcore dance club is I was going to fucking say it is Blade in the beginning, the vampires dancing in the blood. That is what Antimatter is. And I fucking love it.
There we go. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, SUPERBLOOM is one of my favorites. Collider is also another one of my favorites because it has that. Actually, if you take the breakdown out of Collider, I think that song is pretty flawless. Which I think is kind of what Antimatter is in a way. Those songs like fit very hand in hand with each other. Out of 5, what do you give this one?
I'm gonna go like a 3.7 because there are things that I like. It's not a 5 out of 5. I was going to say 3.5, but I don't dislike the album, but it's also not like my album of the year. It's like, I jammed to it. That was a decent album.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Now we're on to Dying Wish, Symptoms of Survival. This is the band's sophomore full length. Like their debut release is coming out on Sharp Tone Records. And this band is a perfect amalgamation of like Killswitch, Poison the Well. It's like pinnacle 2000s metalcore modernized to perfection. And that's why I fucking love this band. Get me with 2000s metalcore vibes and it's game over for me. That's like
I've been texting you for like the last month about how much I love this album. So
it's true.
I have listened to this album on repeat. No shit, like almost daily. I've listened to at least 1 or 2 songs from this album.
Dude, it's good shit. It's really good shit. I love that lyrically the album is about dealing with failure. It's something all of us can relate to. We've all been through failure or felt like we've failed at something. It's kind of like a daily occurrence for probably most human beings. It's about the human condition. Yeah. And I really love that the record has a very natural flow, which I feel like is a very hard thing. I'll probably talk about this on the show all the time, but I feel like a lot of bands don't write records. They just write a bunch of songs and put them together and call it a record. And this feels like a record. Sure. This feels like everything like flows, like having a slower song in the middle, like Paved in Sorrow in the middle, and then closing strong with Torn from Your Silhouette and Lost in the Fall. Like it just flows so well. Like the opposite of what you said, where it ends flat, like it ends on such a high note for me.
So this takes off. It goes 0 to 70 and like right off the bat, and it never drops speed. Like it continues straight through. And honestly, though, it's funny because you know how the last album of Silent Planet, you're like, oh, I like the Cleaner was my. That's kind of like this. Paved in Sorrow was probably my favorite song in the album because Emma actually showcases her cleans a bit more. Like her range is very, very clear in this song. She does it both, and she does it really well, and it's beautiful. It's another like the lyrics were pretty good in this that you can really relate to as far as like, I messed up. If you want to resent me, I understand. Like, that's cool. I did it. And it's just like, dang, we've all kind of had that point in our life where we messed up maybe. And with a villain in somebody else's story. And I just loved what they did, with the music, the guitars, the rhythm, and it all really flows together, and the lyrics and just the vocal range that she really shows.
Oh yeah, she's fucking great. Did you see the video of, because they're on tour right now, that Travis McCoy from Gym Class Heroes joined them on
Yeah,
stage?
dude, I saw that. Yes. People were like complaining, and I was like, dude, what do you mean? This is awesome. Like,
Bro, I saw Gym Class Heroes cover Lamb of God at Warped Tour in 2008, and that was the biggest shit ever.
I remember Travis McCoy used to like lay it down at Warped back in the day.
Dude.
And he also, like, I'm glad he's kind of making that soft comeback in a way, because he just disappeared. He did some things with Fall Out Boy. He came back. He actually was at When We Were Young. And so it's cool to see him out there doing stuff again.
There's one thing I want to bring up. It's probably my only criticism of the album. So one of the singles they put out, Watch My Promise Die, there is a metal riff for the verse. And the metal riff is the same riff over and over. There's no change in it. And there's usually kind of like two halves to a riff. And there's not. It's just the riff doubled. And there's usually like tails at the ends of riffs. And there's not. It's just the same riff over and over.
Now that I can kind of hear it now. That
you'll never be able to unhear it now.
When I go back and listen to this, I'm gonna sit there and be like, God damn it.
And the only reason I bring this up is because this is the only time they do it on the whole record. And pretty much I think the only time they've ever done it as a band. Because there's so many other riffs that are so fucking sick and have so much cool inventive tales, or just something like, oh wow, that's smart. I'm glad they went that way and stuff like that. And I love the metal riffs. Like, I'm a sucker for a metalcore metal lead riff. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah.
And so someone pointed this out to me, and I was like, fuck, you're right. Fuck. And that's my only criticism. But like, this album's gonna be in my top 10 of the year. Like, there's no
without a doubt. Hands down.
I love this record. I just had to bring that up because I needed someone to share my pain for that song. Otherwise, it's a sick song. Like, I love that song, but that verse kind of bugs me a little bit.
Yeah, I have to go back and listen. I didn't even realize. I'll be honest with you. I guess because I was like so caught up in my feelings on this one, just like vibing it. And I've listened to this album so many times. I don't know how I just didn't
Sometimes
catch on.
It just goes over, dude. Sometimes
now that I hear it, it's one of those things, right? Somebody points like, oh, I keep seeing red cars everywhere. You see a red car everywhere now.
Oh yeah, 100%. The exact opposite of that song in that way, in the riff of it all, is Kiss of Judas. And that's one of my favorite tracks on the record. I mentioned Paved in Sorrow, and then the opening track, Symptoms of Survival. Those are my favorite tracks.
Survival absolutely goes hard. Like, they start hard, and that's what I want, especially from a sophomore album, from an up and coming band like that. You got to start strong and kind of just come out swinging, and they do, and they don't look back.
And I think they've only have gotten better since their debut album, which is such a hard thing, especially for a band that pops so hard when you put out a debut album. For them to come back and release a sophomore album that's better, that's the goal. And they in my opinion, they definitely met that goal. So, rating out of 5, I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5. Close to perfect.
I'm going 5, man. I am. I'm going
first
5.
5 of the show.
I told you last week. I'm giving my first 5 of the show right. This is it right here. This is 5 out of 5 for me personally. Maybe I'm just easy to please. I don't know what it is, but this album, like, is it my album of the year? I don't know. I need to go back, assess what came out this year, because there's always things that come out in like January, February that you forget actually came out because the year is so damn long. So I need to assess that. But no, dude, this is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Hell yeah. Another awesome show. Another week of some awesome music.
This is a good week, man. Really pumped for this one.
Matt, before we die, tell them where they can find you.
Yes. So I am hanging around various places these days. I'm everywhere, man. But my main show, Hops Geek News. So I get with Lauren, my co-host, and we talk comic books, movies, TV shows. We typically have a beer. That's what we do. We just drink, have all that kind of stuff coming on. We are coming up on episode 200 here next month. So it's actually going to be like a comic book draft, like best comic books of the year. So if you happen to see this and want to come search us, Hops Geek News, where you can find us, let us know what your favorite comic books of the year were. And we're going to do like a live Christmas special too, I think, for Christmas. Just get really weird with some stuff this year. So that's where you can find us. Or Sean, as he is most recently joined, Nerd Initiative is another place where I write comic book reviews weekly. And I do a live show called Turn a Page, where we actually have a lot of comic book creators come on and chat. So That's where I'm at.
Yeah, good shit. I'm gonna be writing a lot more articles coming up here eventually. when that comes along. Yeah, if you guys are into pop culture and you stumble upon this YouTube channel and didn't know there was a full-length podcast, there is. Comes out every Monday. Metalcore Nerds. It debuts on the Adobe network on Adobe Howl, and then goes on all podcasting platforms after. I basically have someone from the music community, and we talk about what's the latest in pop culture. Right now, we're covering Loki. We'll be talking about the Marvels, probably Gen V. I gave some non-spoiler reviews. I'm lucky enough to see a bunch of things early, so I just gave my non-spoiler review for Invincible. That by the time this comes out, it comes out today, season 1, part 2, the long-awaited return of Invincible. So go to metalcorners.com. You can check out all my stuff there, anywhere on social media at Metalcore Nerds, and let's keep this shit going. See you next week, motherfuckers.